Let me tell you something. God does not do random. He doesn't do accidents. He doesn't just throw things together and hope for the best. No, no, no. He is a master planner, a divine orchestrator. And when he moves with intention. Some of you have been wondering, why hasn't my person come yet? You've prayed, you've waited, you've seen other people find love, and you're sitting there asking, God, did you forget about me? Let me make something very clear. He did not forget you. He is not late. He is not ignoring your prayers. He is working right now, behind the scenes, arranging things in ways you can't even see yet. See, what you have to understand is that love, real, God-ordained, purpose-driven love, is not something you can just stumble into. It's not about luck. It's not about timing that you think is right. It's about divine alignment. God is not in the business of just giving you anybody. He is in the business of giving you the right person at the right time. Now, here's where people mess up. They get tired of waiting. They get impatient. And when you get impatient, you start making moves that God never told you to make. You start entertaining people who were never meant for you. You start forcing relationships that were supposed to be lessons, not lifetimes. And then you wonder why you're hurt, why it didn't work out, why you're feeling empty instead of fulfilled. It's because you tried to outrun God's plan. But let me tell you, when God is in control, when He is orchestrating your love story, you don't have to force anything. You don't have to beg someone to love you. You don't have to convince the wrong person to stay. When it's God's doing, it just flows. Now, that doesn't mean it'll be easy. No, no, no. Even God-ordained love comes with challenges. But what it won't come with is confusion, because God is not the author of confusion. Some of you are frustrated because you think nothing is happening. But if only you could see what God is setting up for you, if only you knew how He is moving pieces around, protecting you from people who look good but aren't good for you. You don't even know the heartbreaks He's already saved you from, the wrong turns He's already redirected, the counterfeit relationships He's blocked before they could reach you. So what do? You trust Him. You stop trying to force doors open that He's closed for a reason. You stop looking at everyone else's story and thinking yours should look the same. Your love story is being written by the creator of the universe. Do you really think He's gonna mess this up? Do you really think He's forgotten about you? No. He is setting it up. He is making sure the person He has for you is also ready for you. Because the last thing you want is to meet your person too soon when neither of you are ready and end up damaging something that was supposed to be beautiful. God is not slow. He is intentional. He is precise. And when the time comes, when He introduces you to the one He has chosen for you, you'll know. Because it will feel right. It will feel aligned. It will be a love that glorifies Him, not distracts you from Him. So hold on, stay faithful, stop trying to write a story that is already being written for you. And when the introduction happens, you'll realize God's timing was always perfect.
Before you meet the one, before God reveals your soulmate, there is something you need to understand. You have to know yourself first. You have to know who you are, what you stand for, what your purpose is. Because love is not about finding someone to complete you. No, no, no. You are already whole. You were designed that way. If you go into a relationship looking for someone to fill the empty spaces inside you, you will always be disappointed. That is not their job. That is between you and God. See, people rush into love thinking that another person will fix their loneliness, their insecurities, their self-doubt. Let me tell you the truth. A relationship will only magnify what is already inside you. If you don't love yourself, if you don't value yourself, if you don't even know what you bring to the table, then you will settle for anyone who gives you attention. You will mistake temporary affection for real love. You will attach yourself to people who were never meant for you simply because they made you feel wanted for a moment. But what happens when the attention fades? What happens when the excitement dies down? You're left with the same wounds, the same emptiness, the same struggle to understand who you are. That's why before God brings the right person into your life, He first brings you into alignment with yourself. He will strip away the distractions. He will remove the wrong people. He will take you through seasons of solitude, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Because when you know who you are, when you are grounded in your worth, you don't chase love. You don't beg for someone to stay. You don't tolerate anything less than what God has for you. You stand firm. You walk in confidence. You attract the right love by being the person God created you to be. Some of you are frustrated because you feel alone right now. You're watching other people find love, get married, start families, and you're wondering, God, when is it my turn? But what if this season of singleness is not about waiting? What if it's about building? What if God is using this time to shape you, to mold you, to heal parts of you that still need healing? Because let's be real, love is not just about receiving, it's about giving. And if you are not whole within yourself, if you have not learned how to love you, then how will you know how to love someone else? God is not going to give you a person as a bandage for your brokenness. He is not going to send you someone to fix what only He can fix. No, He will strengthen you first. He will show you how to stand tall in your identity. Because when you know your worth, you don't settle. You don't entertain relationships that drain you, confuse you, or pull you away from your purpose. And let's talk about purpose. Because your soulmate is not just about romance. It's about alignment. God doesn't just bring two people together for emotional fulfillment. He brings them together for kingdom purpose. That means you need to know what your purpose is before you can recognize the person who is meant to walk alongside you. Otherwise, you will attach yourself to the wrong people, people who distract you instead of push you forward, people who weaken your faith instead of strengthen it, people who look right but are not right for the mission God has placed in you. So before you start asking God for a relationship, ask Him to show you you. Ask Him to reveal the places in your heart that still need healing. Ask Him to help you love yourself the way He loves you. Because when you meet your person, you want to meet them as someone who is ready, whole, and walking fully in who God created you to be. And when that happens, when two whole people come together, grounded in faith, purpose, and identity, that is when love becomes unstoppable. God is not going to just drop your soulmate into your life without preparation. He is not going to hand you something precious when you are not yet ready to receive it. He is a God of process, a God of development, a God of transformation. And before He gives you what you've been praying for, He will first take you through a season of growth. Some of you are asking, why is it taking so long? Why haven't I met my person yet? And the answer is simple, because you are still becoming the person who can handle that kind of love. Because love, real, God-ordained, purpose-driven love, is not something you just wake up and know how to handle. It takes maturity, it takes character, it takes spiritual depth, and if you are not ready, you can end up ruining something that was meant to bless you. God loves you too much to give you something you are not prepared for. So instead of just dropping the right person into your life, He prepares you, He stretches you, He refines you. And sometimes that process is painful. Sometimes it looks like heartbreak, sometimes it looks like loneliness. Sometimes it looks like losing people you thought would always be there. But what if I told you that every single challenge, every single disappointment, every single moment of struggle was actually part of God's plan to shape you into the person you need to be? See, you can't pray for a healthy, God-centered relationship while still holding on to toxic mindsets about love. You can't ask for a partner who values you if you don't even know your own worth. You can't expect to build a strong relationship when you still have wounds from your past that you haven't healed from. God will take you through a season of preparation, not to punish you, but to equip you. Because love isn't just about feelings, it's about stability, strength, faith, and purpose. And He needs you to be ready. So what does that preparation look like? Sometimes it looks like waiting. And let me tell you something. Waiting is not a punishment. It is protection. God is keeping you from relationships that would drain you, break you, distract you, or delay you from what He has for you. He is saving you from wasting time on people who look good but are not good for you. But in that waiting season, He is also doing something inside of you. He is teaching you how to love yourself. He is teaching you how to rely on Him first. He is strengthening your faith, your patience, your ability to give and receive love in a way that honors Him. And then there are the lessons, the people you thought were the one but weren't, the relationships that started strong but crumbled, the times you gave your heart to someone only to realize they weren't meant for you. Those experiences were not just pain, they were lessons. They were meant to show you what you truly need, what you truly deserve, what love should and should not feel like. God allows those experiences not to break you, but to build you. Because when the right person does come along, you will recognize them, not just by how they make you feel, but by how they align with everything God has been preparing you for. So instead of being frustrated with where you are, embrace it. Instead of questioning why it hasn't happened yet, ask yourself, what is God trying to teach me in this season? Because the truth is, love isn't just about finding the right person, it's about becoming the right person. And when you allow God to do His work in you, when you surrender to the process instead of resisting it, when you focus on becoming instead of just waiting, that's when things start shifting. That's when you start attracting what is meant for you. That's when you step into the kind of love that is worth the wait. When God writes your love story, it will not be filled with confusion, chaos, or uncertainty. Let me say that again. When it's from God, you won't have to question it. You won't be left wondering if they love you. You won't be trapped in a cycle of mixed signals, broken promises, or emotional exhaustion, because God does not operate in confusion. But let's be real. Too many people settle for confusion and call it love. Too many people mistake inconsistency for passion, drama for excitement, and toxicity for something worth fighting for. And then they wonder why they feel drained instead of fulfilled, anxious instead of secure. But here's the truth. Love from God brings clarity, not chaos. When He brings two people together, it is not built on deception, manipulation, or endless guessing games. It is built on trust, purpose, and alignment. See, love, real, God-ordained, healthy love, does not have to be forced. You won't have to keep trying to prove your worth to someone who was never meant for you. You won't have to chase someone who keeps running. You won't have to keep fighting to be seen, to be chosen, to be valued, because the right person, the one God has for you, will see you without you having to beg for it. They will choose you without hesitation. They will value you because they know your worth aligns with the purpose God has placed in their life too. And this is where so many people miss it. They think that just because a person looks good, sounds good, or seems right in the moment, they must be the one. But let me tell you something. Not everything that looks good is from God. The enemy knows how to send distractions that look like blessings. He knows how to present counterfeits that feel like love. He knows how to keep you attached to relationships that drain you just enough to stop you from stepping into what God really has for you. But you need to start recognizing the difference. Love from God will never cost you your peace. It will never require you to shrink, to beg, to sacrifice your self-worth just to keep someone around. It will never leave you feeling like you have to compete for someone's attention, because what's from God will be yours without you having to fight for it. Now, that doesn't mean the relationship will be perfect. It doesn't mean there won't be challenges, growth, or moments of struggle. But there is a huge difference between working through something together and being the only one fighting to keep it alive. When God is in it, you will feel safe, valued, and at peace, even in the tough moments. So stop forcing things that aren't meant for you. Stop holding on to relationships that leave you feeling drained and uncertain. Stop making excuses for people who keep showing you over and over again that they are not ready, not willing, or not capable of loving you the way God intended. When something is from God, you won't have to manipulate it, chase it, or live in constant anxiety over it. You will know. Because when God writes the love story, the love feels different, it feels solid, it feels peaceful, it feels right. And when you experience that kind of love, you will wonder why you ever wasted a second settling for less. Let's get one thing straight. Not everyone who comes into your life is meant to stay. Not everyone who shows you attention is your soulmate. Not every relationship is a blessing. And if you're not careful, you will find yourself holding on to something that was never meant for you. Too many people settle for counterfeit love because they are tired of waiting. They think maybe this is as good as it gets. They convince themselves that the bare minimum is enough. They accept inconsistency, disrespect, and confusion just because they don't want to be alone. But let me tell you something. Loneliness is not a good enough reason to settle for less than what God has for you. The enemy knows how to send distractions. He knows how to disguise a lesson as a lifetime. He knows how to wrap up toxic relationships in pretty packaging, making you think you found the one, when really all you've found is a distraction from your true blessing. And if you don't have discernment, if you don't listen to the voice of God, you will end up investing your heart in something that was never meant to hold it. But here's the truth. When something is from God, it won't feel like you have to convince someone to love you. You won't have to beg for time, attention, or respect. You won't feel like you're in a constant battle to prove your worth. Love from God is intentional, it is clear, it is mutual, it is purpose-driven, and if you're dealing with something that is making you question your value, that is not from God. And let's talk about value for a second, because too many people forget their own worth and settle for what they think they can get instead of waiting for what they deserve. But let me ask you something. If you really knew your worth, would you still be entertaining people who don't see it? If you truly understood the kind of love God has for you, would you still be chasing after someone who keeps running? Would you still be fighting to hold on to something that is breaking you more than it's building you? Love is not supposed to diminish you, it is supposed to elevate you. It is supposed to strengthen your faith, not make you compromise it. It is supposed to bring peace, not confusion. So if you are constantly crying, constantly feeling anxious, constantly questioning where you stand with someone, that is not love, that is bondage. And here's the hardest part. Sometimes you have to let go of what's wrong before God can give you what's right. Sometimes you have to walk away from the thing you thought you wanted so that God can bless you with something even better. But if your hands are full of what was never meant for you, how will you be able to receive what is? So stop making excuses for people who don't value you. Stop holding on to relationships that are keeping you from the love that God actually has for you. Stop letting fear keep you stuck in something that is draining your spirit. Because what God has for you is so much greater than anything you are trying to force. When love is real, you won't have to beg for it. When it's God's timing, you won't have to force it. And when it's meant for you, it will not feel like a constant battle just to be seen, heard, and loved. Trust that God has something better. Believe that His timing is perfect, and never ever settle for a counterfeit when you were meant for something real. When God reveals your soulmate, it won't be through a grand dramatic moment filled with flashing signs and loud announcements. No, that's not how He works. He moves in alignment, in purpose, in divine timing. He connects two people, not just for love, but for kingdom work, for growth, for a love that reflects His love. And when He does it, it won't feel like something forced, it will feel like something ordained. Too many people think they need to go out searching, chasing, and forcing things to happen. They believe they have to make love happen, as if their future spouse is some puzzle they have to solve. But let me tell you something. God doesn't need your help writing your love story. He doesn't need you to beg, chase, manipulate, or settle. He just needs you to trust Him. He needs you to focus on becoming the person He has called you to be, so that when the right one comes, you are ready. Because when God brings your person into your life, it won't be a battle of trying to prove your worth. It won't be a struggle of guessing where you stand. It won't leave you feeling anxious, second-guessing, or wondering if they're meant for you. You will know. Your spirit will recognize it. The peace of God will be all over it. Because love from God does not come with confusion. It comes with clarity. And let's talk about timing, because this is where so many people get it wrong. They get tired of waiting. They get frustrated. They see other people getting married, starting families, finding their person, and they start thinking, God, did you forget about me? But what they don't realize is that God's timing is perfect. When He orchestrates something, it is not just about putting two people together. It is about making sure both of them are ready, that they are whole, that they are prepared for the kind of love He has for them. Some of you are praying for love, but still carrying wounds from your past. Some of you are asking for a relationship, but haven't even healed from the last one. Some of you are looking for the one while still entertaining people who are keeping you from the one. God cannot give you something new while you are still holding on to what was never meant for you. That's why he needs to prepare you. That's why he needs to work on you first, because the love he has for you is too valuable to be wasted in the wrong season. When God brings your soulmate, it won't be about just romantic love. It will be about purpose. This person will not just love you, they will push you forward. They will challenge you to grow. They will elevate your faith. They will align with your purpose, because love isn't just about feelings. It's about mission. It's about two people coming together to build, to serve, to make an impact that is bigger than themselves. So stop worrying about when it will happen. Stop comparing your timeline to someone else's. Stop doubting God's plan just because you don't see it yet. Because when he does it, when he finally brings that person into your life, you will understand why the wait was necessary. You will realize that every disappointment, every heartbreak, every delay was actually a setup for something greater. And when you look into the eyes of the person God has chosen for you, when you feel that peace that only he can give, you will thank him for every moment he made you wait, because you'll see it was always worth it.